All right, ladies and gentlemen, in this video, we're going to be practicing dividing again, but this is going to be a little bit different because we're going to end up where we are not going to be able to continue with our division without adding zeros. So I'm going to show you how that works. So our first problem, again, when it's written as a fraction, it is technically a division problem, and that would be 4 divided by 5. So I'm going to go ahead and set up our division. Now 4 is being divided by 5. Now that might look a little weird to you. You might be saying, isn't it supposed to be the other way around? But remember, your numerator is what becomes your dividend, and your denominator is what becomes your divisor. Now, we can totally solve this problem still. 5 can't go into 4, so we're going to put a 0 here. 5 times 0 is 0, and we subtract and get 4. Now you might be saying, but that's still not helping me. That's kind of taking me back to where I first started. Yes, that's true. However, we can add a decimal after the 4, and we need to make sure we put our decimal up in our quotient as well. And we can tack on a 0 as a placeholder to kind of help us out. So I'm going to take that 0 and bring it down. And now 5 can go into 40 8 times. 5 times 8 is 40. And when I subtract, I get 0. So now 4/5 is the same as saying 8/10. 8/10. So again, to keep this division alive and going, we added a decimal and a 0. And we're able to do that because 0 is just considered a placeholder. 4 is the same as saying 4.0 and vice versa. Now let's take a look at this next problem. Go ahead and change my color. All right, so we have 3 divided by 8, or 3/8. So I'm setting up our problem. 3 is what's being divided by 8. Now we need to see how many times 8 can go into 3. So let me change that up real quick. All right, so 8 can't go into 3, so I'm going to put a 0. 8 times 0 is 0, and when I subtract, I get 3. Now I want to keep this division alive, so I'm going to add a decimal in my dividend and a decimal in the quotient as well. I'm also going to attach a 0 as a placeholder to help us out. I then get to bring that 0 down. Now we're trying to see how many times can 8 go into 30. I know that 8 can go into 30 3 times. And 8 times 3 is going to give me 24. I'm going to subtract and do 30 minus 24, and that's going to give me 6. Now I end up with a remainder, but I still want to keep this division alive. I don't want to put remainder 6. So I'm going to add another placeholder, another 0, and I'm going to bring that down. Now 8 can definitely go into 60. 8 can go into 60 7 times. 8 times 7 is 56. 60 minus 56 gives me 4. Now I'm looking and I still have a remainder here. So I'm going to try just one last time to see if I add a 0 and bring it down, if that's going to help us get a remainder of 0. So now 8 can go into 40 5 times. 8 times 5 is 40. And 40 minus 40 is 0. So now we have 0 as our remainder. So 3/8, or 3 divided by 8, is going to give us 375 thousandths. 375 thousandths. So that's how you divide whenever you have to keep the division alive. You add that decimal and that 0.